Music guy saying, is Iran experiencing its Arab Spring? It seems like it's escalating since last week. Okay. Well, I hope it's not an Arab Spring, because the Arab Spring ended up being an Arab winter, especially now with things in Tunisia, which was supposed to be the only success story from the Arab Spring, is now seeming like, I don't know, people are describing it as a coup. Some people are saying it's not a coup, but like the Arab Spring happened in Syria, in Egypt, in Libya, in Yemen, and in Bahrain. And look where they turned out. Like, look at Syria, look at Libya, look at Egypt, look at Yemen. And Bahrain, wasn't successful. Syria wasn't successful. And one final place we're like, well, at least it worked here. It was Tunisia. And ever since last week, we're like, well, maybe not even Tunisia. We don't know, okay? It's hard to judge. It's too early. It's been 10 years, but you might think this is ridiculous to say, but 10 years is too early to judge. You have to wait another 20 years to see what was the result of the Arab Spring, probably. But Iran's experiencing water shortage, electricity cuts, lack of employment, inflation, and more, and you can't blame that all on sanctions. A lot of it is blamed on incompetence of the people in charge, okay? And just yesterday, after all these complaints by people about lack of management and not listening to the people and making some decisions that act like so directly as responsible for people's misery by the government, in Iran. Yesterday they were like, we're gonna probably cut, they just passed the bill to try, I don't know how successful this is going to be, to cut the internet from the outside world, for you to need a permit or something to be able to access like Facebook, or, well, not the internet. Like right now, the first attempt is to just cut social media out, right? And you would have to apply for a permit to be able to have access to social media, and they have to be able to see your activity and stuff like that. So this was the response to the, like, people are like, basically this government is like, how could we make these people's lives so much more miserable and make them even more angry? I don't know if people understand how much people's economies and trades and everything depends on the internet and social media. But it's just so hard to see how this could just continue. I know I'm not saying it's gonna, the protests in Iran is going to or not going to topple the government. Okay, I'm not making any predictions here right now, but it's just so hard to see, like, how can you you shouldn't be able to get away with this much, with this kind of, a government like this should not be able to survive. The thing is that I say that, but we said that about Assad as well, and that's he survived, right? Well, here's the thing. What I could tell you is that there are people who say that the protests in Iran, I hope people have been seeing that there are more and more protests happening in Iran. It's picking up, right? It started in Khuzestan, and now it's like spreading to other cities. Even before that, people were doing strikes because of lack of, because of not getting paid. There were a lot of strikes in the oil industry and other places. And now people are like coming out in the streets and actively protesting against the government because of water outages. And everything is just getting worse. And the protests are getting more and more extreme. The anti-regime chants are getting more and more directed at Khamenei himself, the supreme leader. And what's happening, the reason why a lot of people think like this is going to end badly for the Islamic Republic is because there's more and more protests happening compared to before, right? Like it used to be like you see a protest once every decade. Then quickly it turned into once every 2 years. And then quickly it turned into every year. And then quickly it turned into, it seems like it was turning into every month. But then the pandemic happened and then it stopped. And then people were like, the reason why it stopped is because of the pandemic. And if you remove the pandemic element, it was accelerating. And now it's coming back. And it just seems like it's now becoming constant. And now what you were seeing in Iran is the protests that are happening in Iran right now. It's the longest continuous nationwide protest that we have ever had, right? So, and the capacity for suppressing that by the government seems to be lowering, right? So that's why some people are saying like, yeah, things are going to change, but I don't know, okay? Because so that's the argument for why things are going to change. But the argument on the other side is that things were worse for Assad, and he's still in power. Things were worse for the Taliban, and look at where they're now. They're back in power, right? So there's arguments for and against it. I would say I don't know.
Hey guys, if you're a fan of Blasphemy and Sexy Callie, like me, then you need to be sure to subscribe to our newsletter, link in the description below. Because if you subscribe, we will send you a free copy of our Blasphemous Art ebook. And let me tell you, it is the tastiest blasphemy that you can find anywhere available today. And we are so generous with our blasphemy that we continue to send you more blasphemy every week. So make sure to subscribe, link in the description below.